Today's video is brought to you by Sega. So not too long ago, I was granted early access to a game called Metaphor ReFantazio. Metaphor is the brand new RPG from Atlus, the creative minds behind hit games from the Persona series such as Persona 5, as well as another more esoteric series that I'm quite fond of. This was one of my most anticipated games of the year, and after playing it for more than 60 hours, I feel like I've seen enough to paint an accurate picture of what it feels like to play this game. So in this video, I'm going to share my thoughts to give you a better idea of what you can expect from the Metaphor experience. By the way, if you are watching this video, it means that today is October 11th, aka the release date for Metaphor ReFantazio. The game is available on Xbox, Steam, and PlayStation, so you can click on the link in the description to purchase it right now. Also, there is a free demo for Metaphor that's been released on all the platforms I just mentioned, and the save data from that demo carries over to the full version of the game. So feel free to play the demo to get a taste of what the full game will be like. The first thing that caught my eye while playing was how different exploring this world felt compared to previous Atlus titles. Usually, I'm either going through Tokyo or an apocalyptic version of that city, so when I went from that to a completely brand new fantasy land, it honestly just felt like I had been transported to another world. And what amplified that feeling for me was learning about all the different cultures in this kingdom. Now at first it really felt like I was getting bombarded with a lot of things. 9 tribes? Wow, look at the size of her ears! Wait, the ships are called Gauntlet Runners? And they have legs?
Closure.
Hey, this dude just said closure to me. The hell does closure mean? Is that a slur? But as more time passed, I became familiar with these terms, and it made me appreciate this word a lot more. Closure, for example, is a prayer that you will hear from the people who are part of the dominant religion in this kingdom called Sanctism. And whenever you travel to a new location, the game will reveal a lot of information to you about the purpose of these places, their history and culture. I love the world building in this game. You can tell that a lot of attention went into making you care about this world, and it makes the experience so much more immersive. As I kept exploring this metaphorical land, I couldn't stop thinking about how pretty this game really is. Metaphor is filled to the brim with charm, and the beauty I'm talking about doesn't just apply to the beautiful landscapes you will explore, because the UI design in Metaphor is also incredible. Atlus was already known for their unique and stylish approach to user interface before, but with Metaphor they truly knocked it out of the park. To give you an example, this is what your menu looks like during the prologue, and this is what it turns into. Yup, your menu gets an upgrade. Like, how often do you see stuff like that happening? Whether you're trying to equip a weapon, picking your next location to explore, or simply getting your rewards after a battle, you are bound to see something that will leave a big impression on you. And would you look at these character portraits, man, they are so pretty! Whenever I'm playing, my eyes are always glued to the bottom left corner of the screen because it's such a pleasure to look at the various expressions these portraits are making, especially when Best Girl Grius is on the screen. And since we are on the topic of presentation, I need to bring up the music, because the soundtrack in this game is phenomenal. I do not comprehend what this medieval rapper is saying, but I don't need to understand the lyrics to tell you that this game has a lot of certified bangers. Seriously, with tracks like these, even the simple task of slaying goblins can feel like the greatest thing ever. Now, the next point I want to touch on is about the gameplay, specifically the combat. Metaphor features a blend of real-time and turn-based combat. At first I was pretty apprehensive about how this was going to work, but now that I've got to experience it for myself, I can confidently say that I really like this design choice. Enemies in Metaphor have a yellow bar called a break gauge. By attacking an enemy continuously, you will chip away at their break gauge, and once that gauge has been fully emptied, you will stun them. Breaking an enemy before starting a squad battle is extremely useful because it allows one of your party members to perform a preemptive strike to deal damage to them before they get to play the game, and it also prevents them from acting for the first turn of the battle. However, if you get hit by an enemy, you will be forced into a battle where they will have the advantage, and that head start can easily make the battle snowball, especially when you are playing on hard mode. The enemies in Metaphor have hyper armor when they attack, so if you get too caught up in the hacking and slashing, they can easily disregard what you are doing to land a hit on you. I really like this because it means that you can't mindlessly spam your attacks. Instead, you need to pay close attention to the visual cues given to you by the enemies, as well as making use of the dodge command to avoid getting hit. What I love about Metaphor's real-time combat is that the value it provides will depend on the level of the enemy you are facing. If they are strong, it allows you to start the battle with an advantage. But if they are weaker than you can easily defeat them without needing to go in a squad battle. And that is a very convenient way to quickly dispatch your enemies while exploring. As for the turn-based combat, the system this game uses is extremely similar to the press-turn system from the Shin Megami Tensei series, so you will be able to exploit the weaknesses of your enemies to grant yourself more actions, as well as using the pass command to let another unit better utilize your turn. In addition to the press-turn system, this game also introduces new mechanics like formations. In Metaphor, the damage a party member delivers and receives will depend on their position. Those in the front row will deal more damage with their melee attacks, while those in the back row will deal less melee damage, but in return, they will take less damage from enemies. Now what's really interesting about this mechanic is that you can change the formation of your party members during a battle right before they act. Being able to change the position of your characters based on what's happening makes the formation mechanic a lot more dynamic, and it adds more depth to the battle system. So when it comes to the combat, I would say that the real-time and turn-based aspects aren't disjointed. There are two faces of the same coin, working in tandem to provide a unique experience. Oh, and regarding combat, in this game, the way you attack will change based on the weapon you have equipped. Each weapon has its own moveset, as well as an attack range that differs from one weapon to another. And if you are wondering how you can switch your weapon, the answer you seek is tied to the central mechanic in this game called archetype. So archetypes are heroic forms that your party members can turn into in order to use magic, and they are easily my favorite aspect of this game. At their core, archetypes serve the same purpose as the job classes that can be seen in various RPGs. But what really makes this system so enjoyable is that it's filled with a lot of mechanics that work very well together. Each archetype comes with a weapon, a moveset, and stats that are tailored toward a specific playstyle. They also have their own leveling system, and by ranking them up, you will be able to learn new abilities. There is also a skill inheritance system that allows you to spend resources to unlock previously learned skills and assign them to other archetypes to create powerful skill combos. Another aspect I really like is that the archetype you equip affects your playstyle in significant ways. Typically, MP is a resource used for performing skills, but some archetypes use other resources to do that, like the brawler whose skills consume HP, or the merchant who has skills that cost money to use. Now, with so many archetypes to unlock, one of my concerns was about how grindy this system would be. And while leveling up an archetype all the way to rank 20 can take a bit at times, I'm pleased to say that to help with this, Metaphor regularly gives you items that can be used to earn archetype experience. But more importantly, what's really cool about archetypes is that they can be extremely useful even at a low rank because of a mechanic called synthesis skills. These are co-op skills that multiple characters get access to according to the archetypes they have equipped. And what's interesting about synthesis skills is that you don't need to meet a level requirement to use them. So long as you have the right combo of archetypes, you can perform synthesis skills, and thanks to this mechanic, I never felt like I had to master an archetype in order to get any use out of it. So far, my favorite archetype is the Gunner. It's an archetype that can only attack from the back row, but doesn't suffer any melee penalties for doing so. Like, yeah, casting magic is cool and all, but why would I be doing that when I could be casting bullets? Feel the power of mankind's greatest creation! Additionally, archetypes can also provide some assistance outside of battles thanks to the hero passive mechanic. When you, the hero, equip an archetype, you get a unique passive skill that gets activated during overworld combat. And said passive will change based on the archetype you have equipped. These abilities are useful in general, but where they truly shine is while mowing down hordes of weak enemies because you can trigger those hero passives repeatedly. For example, the merchant has a hero passive called Alchemy, which gives you a chance to win a small sum of money each time an enemy is stunned or defeated. There is so much more that I could say about archetypes, but I think you get the idea. It's a flexible system that rewards experimentation and is a ton of fun to mess with. Now, another aspect that I want to talk about is the general gameplay structure of Metaphor. This is where those who have played the Persona game, most notably Persona 5, we start seeing some similarities. During your adventure, you will be given missions with a deadline. To complete those missions, you will need to fully explore various dungeons. These dungeons tend to be on the lengthy side, so you might need a couple of days to fully go through them. I find exploring dungeons to be very fun in this game, in part due to the variety of objectives you have to complete during your exploration. One moment you are looking for levels to pull down, then it becomes a stealth mission, and then you are playing a Crash Bandicoot level. And when you think that you have seen everything that these dungeons had to offer, they hit you with the escape from inside the monster, get to the anus. Yes, this is real, and I will not elaborate any further. Besides dungeon exploration, this game features a wide variety of activities that you can do depending on the time of the day. like interacting with your followers. Followers are characters that you can forge bonds with, and doing so is how you unlock new archetypes. As you keep strengthening your bonds with your followers, you will unlock new abilities, and what's cool about those abilities is that they aren't solely centered around your archetypes. For example, Nuras is the mechanic who handles the Gauntlet Runner, and by leveling up his bond to rank 2, I unlocked an ability called Bombardier, which allows him to deal damage to the enemies at the start of a battle that takes place on the deck of the Gauntlet Runner. Since each follower has cool abilities that can improve your experience beyond strengthening your archetypes, there is a big incentive for unlocking and nurturing those bonds. Now, sometimes you won't be able to progress a bond if your stats aren't high enough, and to fix that, you will need to raise your royal virtues. Mechanically, virtues function like the social stats in the Persona series, but there are two things that this game does differently that I really appreciate. The first one is that when earning virtue points, you can clearly see the bar moving, and when you combine that with the fact that each rank of a virtue is clearly represented by a star icon, it means that you can easily keep track of your progress. So if you see that you are close to leveling up a virtue, you can act upon this information by prioritizing activities to raise that stat. As for the second thing I wanted to mention, it's the fact that some side quests in Metaphor will reward you with virtue points. So in addition to the usual rewards that one can expect, there is an even bigger incentive tied to completing those quests, and it makes engaging with the side content even more enticing. Time management is a big part of the experience, and you will have to assess what you want to do on any given day. For example, you can only explore dungeons during the day, and if you decide to go dungeon crawling, you won't be able to do anything during the night other than resting. But if you don't go exploring during the day, you can use that time slot to increase one of your virtues, and then when night comes, you can work on ranking up your bond with a character. I really enjoy this aspect of Metaphor because it makes planning out your days very strategic and purposeful. If I had to describe Metaphor ReFantazio in one single word, it would be celebration. Metaphor is the culmination of everything that Atlus has created over the years, and while it does share a decent amount of its DNA with games like Persona 5, it goes so much deeper than that. When I look at the turn-based combat, I can see how it's inspired by the engaging press-turn system from the Shin Megami Tensei series. And when I look at the archetypes and synthesis skills, I am reminded of another niche series from Atlus called Digital Devil Saga, where characters had to transform into their demon forms to use spells. And by combining all these mechanics with a brand new setting as well as innovating in key areas, Metaphor is able to offer a very immersive experience that feels similar yet distinct from the previous games Atlus has made. There are so many other things that I would love to talk about, like the story, how much I love the absolute goofballs that are your party members, or how the protagonist isn't silent in this game.
I can take a lot of punishment.
Well said, my boy! But I think it's best to let you experience that for yourself. I would like to give a big thank you to Sega for giving me the amazing opportunity to make this video for you guys. Don't forget to try out the demo and make sure to click the link in the description to buy the game on the platform of your choosing. Now, if you will excuse me, I must return inside the editing cave to prepare my next video. In the meantime, don't fall victim to any demons. And most importantly, take care.